We've made several videos talking about it, but it is finally time to give my final predictions on the 2023 Royal Rumble. Welcome back to the Noah Nation Wrestling YouTube channel, and before we get into this video, I want to remind you guys that every single Noah Nation Wrestling video is also available on audio platforms Apple, Google, Spotify, and more. Go check it out in the description box down below. But yes, this is my predictions for the 2023 WWE Royal Rumble. I am very much looking forward to this show. We have 5 matches confirmed. I am filming this on Wednesday night. If anything gets added between Thursday and Friday, then I'll post it down in the comment section below. But I don't see anything else getting added besides maybe Charlotte versus Sonya Deville for the SmackDown Women's title, which does not need to happen. I hope it doesn't get added, but that's the only thing that I could possibly see getting added onto this show. But it doesn't need to happen. 5 matches, perfectly fine. 2 of them being the women's, 2 of them being the Royal Rumble matches. We don't need anything else in this show. Leave it as is, I think, is A-okay in my book. But we got a lot to talk about here, so we aren't going to waste any time. We'll kick things off with the Raw Women's Championship match. Bianca Belair defending against Alexa Bliss. Not necessarily looking forward to this matchup. I think it's just honestly a match for Bianca Belair to be on the Royal Rumble and to get her to the next step on the road to WrestleMania. I completely see Bianca retaining the Raw Women's Championship here. I don't think Alexa Bliss has a shot in hell. I will say, however, and we're going to talk about the Women's Royal Rumble after this, and I don't have too much to say on this Raw Women's Championship match. I will say I do see Bianca retaining the championship here, but I honestly see her losing the title at Elimination Chamber. I think after what we saw, and it was already rumored, but after what we saw on Raw 30 this past Monday, I think we are definitely heading towards Bianca versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So if that's the case, obviously Bianca needs to drop the Raw Women's Championship beforehand. So I believe she will retain the championship here and then drop it to one of 2 women, which we'll talk about when we talk about the Rumble, in the Elimination Chamber matchup. And then how she moves to SmackDown to set up the match with Charlotte remains to be seen. You know, she might just show up one week and challenge Charlotte, or maybe Charlotte puts out an open challenge saying that everybody's been beaten on SmackDown or something like that. Whatever they want to do. Is it necessarily my ideal match? No. My ideal match for WrestleMania for Bianca Belair in general would be her defending the Raw Women's Championship and losing it to Rhea Ripley. That's what I would do. But personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to be getting Bianca versus Charlotte and then a separate Raw Women's Championship matchup. So Bianca to retain at the Royal Rumble, and then my far past Royal Rumble prediction is for her to lose it in the Elimination Chamber next month. But let's get into the meat of stuff, man. Women's Royal Rumble match, the first of 2 Rumble matches that we will talk about, already confirmed for this matchup. I do have the participants that are actually announced pulled up. We have Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, and Emma. Not a lot of talent announced for this matchup, but you can pretty much put together who's going to be in there. And I will say, just kind of an added note here, I'm a little disappointed in the Royal Rumble match specifically build. Like, the overall, the build for the Rumble has been fine, has been anything extraordinary outside of the Bloodline storyline, obviously, but specifically the Rumble matches, I feel like neither of them got too much attention on television. I feel like they barely talked about it for the women, and no real woman sticks out as like really targeting to win the Royal Rumble match. Like obviously if it's been talked about, but I just feel like in years past, and I mean really years past, like we're going over a decade, I feel like building up to the Rumble match itself used to be a big thing. People throwing each other over the top rope left and right, talking about it interview after interview, segment after segment. Like, it was the main topic of Raw and SmackDown for an entire month. And I feel like even though we have gotten build towards the Rumble matches, I'm not saying we haven't, it just felt a little on the back burner. Maybe WWE just thinks, well, it's the Rumble, it sells itself. And that very well is true. It's the Royal Rumble, and coming from somebody who didn't watch weekly television from 2019 up until, this past summer when Triple H took over, I watched the Rumble every year because it was the Royal Rumble. But doesn't mean you can't put in a little effort to build some excitement towards the matches anyway. Just throwing that out there in my personal opinion. But anyway, the Women's Royal Rumble match, obviously that is the talent we have announced so far, and you can pretty much piece together probably half of the matchup or most of the matchup between the Raw and SmackDown rosters. I'm sure we'll get some NXT entrants in there, which should be nice. There is a good chunk of solid women down in NXT. I will give the current day NXT version credit for that. They do have a couple of women down there that I think are going to be great pieces to the main roster when they eventually come. There's also been rumors of Chelsea Green making her WWE return in the Royal Rumble match, which I'd love to see. I would love to see some of those Impact Wrestling entrants. Like, we got Mickie James last year. That was cool, but there was a couple months ago where we were getting rumors that WWE had their eyes on Deonna Purrazzo, which I think is a WrestleMania women's main event waiting to happen if done right. Jordan Grace, who I think is great. Mickie James is also, I believe she's the Impact Women's Champion again right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get a Forbidden Door entrant out of one of those. I'm not banking on it, but remains to be seen. And then, of course, we didn't really get that many women's legends on Raw this past week, excuse me. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Lita, a Trish, some of those, top tier legends in there. And obviously they've kind of repeated the legends a lot over the last few years since there's only so many to choose from. We've gotten Tori Wilson several times. We've gotten Beth Phoenix, I think, once or twice. And I'd be down for that. That's very much, she very, very much, might be in the Rumble match and targeting Rhea Ripley. But I'm sure that'll, pick your poison on who's going to show up between surprises, debuts, returns, all that stuff. But let's talk about the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, I don't really think there's that many options. I think it's mainly targeting, who's going to be in the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania, because like I said, I think the SmackDown Women's Championship match is already half determined, with Charlotte holding the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then I do believe Bianca will somehow, some way face her for the gold at WrestleMania. So who's going to be in the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania? Well, let me just run down a couple of things here. Asuka hasn't been on TV for at least a couple of weeks, I think, unless I'm forgetting. I know she wasn't on TV this week, but I don't think she's been on TV for a couple of weeks. Maybe she shows back up and wins the Royal Rumble match, becomes the first ever two-time Royal Rumble match winner. I don't think that's, I think her being in the Rumble match is very likely, but I don't think her winning is very likely. I just wanted to throw it out there as kind of like that dark horse thing. They were kind of teasing a darker side of Asuka, more NXT Asuka coming back to light the last time we saw her, so I think that'd be great. If she did win, I'd be down for it. The Women's Championship matches at WrestleMania, there's not that many options for Asuka that sound too intriguing. They did her and Rhea Ripley a few years ago at WrestleMania, and then honestly the last time they faced on Raw, I believe, was before Survivor Series, and it really wasn't that hot, so I'm not too intrigued on that. They've done her and Becky plenty of times. I don't even know who else is on Raw, major name wise, unless they're going to put the title on Alexa Bliss, which I doubt. But that's a dark horse option. Just throwing it out there. And then as for SmackDown, another dark, and I'm talking dark horse pick. Like, I don't consider these my predictions. I'm just throwing out names so I think could at least have an impact in the Royal Rumble match. But Raquel Rodriguez, I don't think she will win, but I do believe she will be that woman this year that sticks out as a, in the Final Four, has the most eliminations. I think she's going to have a big 2023. And I think she's good. Is she great? No, but she's definitely consistently improving since her time in NXT. And I think she's going to be a major player presented right in the WWE Women's Division down the line. I think she'll have a big year. So look out for Raquel Rodriguez to have a big Royal Rumble match. The last woman I'll say that is, I don't even want to call it dark horse pick because I want her nowhere near winning this matchup, but Ronda Rousey's been off television since she lost the SmackDown Women's title on December 30th. Will she resurface in the Royal Rumble matchup? Likely. I'm not banking on it. It's just she very well may be in the match. She very well may not. I really couldn't care either way. Well, really, I would prefer her not to be in the matchup. I prefer her not to be on WWE television at all because she sucks. But if she's in the Rumble match, please, for the love of God, do not have her win. Do I think that would happen? No. But I even though it seemed like Ronda and Becky was off the table, you never really know. So hopefully Ronda stays away, and hopefully we do not have her anywhere near winning this matchup. There's two women, and I think it's the obvious two women that everybody's talking about who could potentially win this matchup, and especially for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. That being Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. Now, I really don't have a problem with Becky Lynch winning this matchup. However, I don't want to see a repeat winner, especially when there is a better choice, in my opinion, which is Rhea Ripley. Now, like I said earlier, my preferred Raw Women's title match at WrestleMania would have been Rhea versus Bianca, but since it seems like we're not going to get that specific matchup, I do believe we still very well may get Rhea Ripley in that title match at WrestleMania. And they teased Becky versus Rhea a couple of months ago. It was, I think, maybe one of the Raws after Survivor Series, after Becky came back, and they had that little face-to-face in the entranceway. I think they were teasing that on purpose, possibly, planting some seeds for WrestleMania. So, who's going to win? It could be either woman. And, whichever one doesn't win here, I think will be the one to win the Raw Women's Championship inside Elimination Chamber, because I very much think that's going to happen. Me, personally, I would have Rhea Ripley win the Royal Rumble, Becky win the Women's title at Elimination Chamber, and then have Rhea defeat Becky for the title at WrestleMania. Short reign for Becky, but it's not anything we haven't seen before. And the end goal of this, in my opinion, would be to give Rhea Ripley the spotlight at WrestleMania and put the title on her, because she has done her best work of her main roster career ever since Triple H took over and Judgment Day, and she has just been great. She's been under the bloodline. The Judgment Day is one of my favorite parts of Monday Night Raw, or just of WWE television. I think they're great. Everything they do is pretty much entertaining. So I really want Rhea in that spot at WrestleMania. And she is going to be my number one pick to win the Women's Royal Rumble matchup. But right under her would be Becky Lynch. And I really, like I said, don't have a problem with if Becky wins this matchup, but I could very much see WWE giving it to her. However, she won it, what was it, 2019? We don't really need to see Becky win this match again when Rhea's right there as a legitimate contender to win. So my personal pick will be Rhea Ripley at number one, winning the Royal Rumble match, my number one pick, and Becky Lynch will be my my number two pick. But one way or another, I see those two women ending up in the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. But that is my discussion, my predictions for the Women's Royal Rumble match. So let's move on. All right, we will move on with the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight. I'm looking forward to this, man. You know, I can't believe that we have now been to Wells Fargo Center for Extreme Rules in October, and now we've been back to Wells Fargo Center for the 30th anniversary of Raw, and Bray Wyatt still has not wrestled a televised match since his return, and this is going to be the first one since October 7th, October 8th, whatever day Extreme Rules was, excuse me, but I can't believe it's taken this long. And I gotta be honest, I don't hate the fact that he hasn't wrestled yet, and I've enjoyed 85% of what we've seen for Bray and LA. Honestly, I've enjoyed pretty much everything. I've just been a little bit impatient with some of the reveals. Like, I just want them to give us something a little bit more already when it comes to the Uncle Howdy situation. Like, let's get a face reveal. Let's get something like that to really take this thing to the next level. That's what I'll say there. But for the most part, I very much enjoyed everything they've done with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. LA Knight has been great. He is clearly showcasing that he is going to be a major player for years to come here in the WWE. And I hope he has a big 2023. But as for this matchup, who's going to win, Bray Wyatt or LA Knight? Bray Wyatt has to win. Listen, I know a lot of people said, no, LA Knight can't lose. LA Knight's too hot. This, that, and the other. Bray Wyatt cannot lose his first match back. After all this time, after not wrestling a televised match since WrestleMania 37 in 2021, returning in October, all these months later, he finally has a match and he's going to lose? He can't lose, especially with the possibility of The Fiend coming out. I think you definitely aren't going to beat The Fiend, and hopefully this version of The Fiend, if we do get The Fiend, isn't, basically indestructible, because they booked themselves into a corner the first time around. Hopefully this Fiend can be a little bit more vulnerable, and, human-like, but, it is what it is. We'll see what happens on Saturday. Like I said, I'm filming this on Wednesday night, so we'll see what happens on Friday. Maybe we'll get an announcement of what kind of Bray Wyatt's going to show up. I don't know, but at the end of the day, whether it's The Fiend, whether it's the Eater of Worlds, whether it's Bray Wyatt dressed in his Firefly Funhouse getup, or whether it's Bray just kind of as we've seen him, or whatever the case may be, Bray Wyatt needs to win at the Royal Rumble. LA Knight will be fine. LA Knight's going to have a huge 2023. He's going to be big. But Bray Wyatt needs to win this match. And how we get to the ending, I don't know. I'm sure we'll probably see an Uncle Howdy appearance. Maybe we'll get a reveal. Maybe we'll get Alexa Bliss getting involved. I don't know. But one way or another, Bray Wyatt needs to win this matchup. And I'm very curious as well, what's next for Bray Wyatt after this, because once he beats LA Knight, assuming that he beats LA Knight, I don't see the reason for this to continue, especially for LA Knight's case. Like, if he loses, like, all right, I'm just, if from a storyline perspective, LA Knight should just be like, all right, I'm done with that, moving on to something else. So LA Knight, I'm also curious where he's going to go, especially heading into WrestleMania, and I have a few ideas that I don't know if I'm going to talk about today, but I might talk about in another video sometime this week, or next week, so stay tuned for that. But Bray Wyatt, like, the only other person I could really see him working with soon on SmackDown is Karrion Kross. I think that's very much a possibility for a WrestleMania match, Bray versus Karrion Kross. But with all this unresolved and still developing Uncle Howdy and still potential Wyatt 6 stuff out there, will we get a new Wyatt family? All remains to be seen. There's still a lot to tell. I know people were rumoring that we might get Bray Wyatt versus Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania, which I don't really know. Like, that, I need more context to that. I need to know who's officially under the Uncle Howdy mask. Is it Bo Dallas? Whatever. I need more there for that to make sense. But at the end of the day, remains to be seen. When it comes to the Royal Rumble this Saturday, pitch black match, Mountain Dew pitch black match. Bray Wyatt to defeat LA Knight. We got the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Their third time wrestling at the Royal Rumble, 2017, 2021, and now 2023. Back in the same building, they had the 2017 match, so a nice little trilogy of matches there. It's like Rock and Austin at WrestleMania. It's kind of cool, but regardless of that little fun fact, Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Now, let's get down to the quick result. Kevin Owens obviously not winning this matchup. Roman Reigns will be leaving the Alamo Dome. Still the undisputed Universal Champion. How we get there, though, is going to be the interesting part. Obviously, the match itself should be great, but how Sami Zayn will play a factor into the result of this match is really going to be the tall tale. Is Sami Zayn going to accidentally, cost... well, he can't cost Roman Reigns the matchup, so... Is he going to cost Kevin Owens the match on purpose, on accident? I don't know how they're going to go about it. Somehow, some way, Sami Zayn is going to be involved here in the finish. And assuming that we might still get Sami versus Roman in Montreal at Elimination Chamber, which I would love to see because the crowd would be super hot, and for Sami Zayn winning only for their dreams to get crushed when he doesn't, I think would be a great moment. Assuming that might happen, we have to pull the trigger on the bloodline kicking Sami Zayn out, like, now. Like, not at like, I don't see how we get there on Saturday night and what could possibly transpire that night for them to beat the shit out of Sami Zayn in San Antonio. I honestly thought Sami was going to take the pin in the Raw tag title match on Monday, and that was going to be, like, the Usos, like, all right, we just defended him a minute ago, but, like, we're cutting the ties with them now, and then something happens here, and then next week they pull the trigger. I don't know. At the end of the day, Roman Reigns is winning this match. Sami Zayn somehow, some way is going to be involved in the finish. And I gotta say, like, I don't know where we're exactly heading with the whole storyline. Like, I know the end result's got to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos at WrestleMania, but how we're going to get there, what's going to happen at Elimination Chamber, I'm very much intrigued because there's really no concrete answers. Like I said, I really want to see Sami versus Roman in Montreal at the Elimination Chamber. But what's the date for the Elimination Chamber? February 18th. That is 3 weeks from Saturday. So I don't know. That seems kind of quick to get to Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns even after a beatdown. Or maybe we get the match without even having a full beatdown turn yet. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to get there. I don't know what's going to happen at the Chamber. But at the end of the day, Roman Reigns obviously leaving San Antonio, the undisputed champion. And what comes up next, the Men's Royal Rumble matchup, is going to be very, very interesting because that will determine who is going to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and that is going to determine a lot about where we're heading into WWE for the rest of 2023. But Roman Reigns to defeat Kevin Owens, some kind of Sami Zayn bloodline involvement there to retain the Universal Undisputed WWE Championship. Can we split these titles back up? Because, my God, that is a long name. All right, let's get down to the juicy stuff. The Men's Royal Rumble matchup. 15 superstars already announced. Starting from the bottom, working our way up. We have Karrion Kross, Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman, Omos, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, the Intercontinental Champion Gunther, the United States Champion Austin Theory, Seth freaking Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions Kofi Kingston, and of course, and most importantly, the return, which I am very excited for, of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So who is taking this thing, man? This has been the hot topic for a while in the internet wrestling community, on Twitter, on YouTube. We have made plenty of discussions. Almost every video we've been talking about who's going to win the Royal Rumble match, who's going to WrestleMania. So let's just start breaking this down. Let me just get this out of the way, because I honestly haven't talked about him as a potential winner for the Rumble matchup, even though people have brought it up, and on all my videos, I don't think I mentioned him once, even though we did just mention, the whole thing about the Chamber and stuff. Sami Zayn, as much as I get people want to see that Sami defeating Roman Reigns isn't the story that we're heading to. Once Sami Zayn looked at those titles, those tag team titles on Monday night, you knew exactly, like, that's it, that's the look. We're getting the tag title match at WrestleMania, Sami and KO versus the Usos. So Sami Zayn, even though I know people want to see him win and face Roman Reigns and be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship, I don't see it happening. Could he be in the Rumble match? Remains to be seen. Maybe Roman sends him out there to win it and then relinquish the spot, and Roman wants to take the night off for WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe he'll be in the Rumble match. Maybe he won't. Maybe Solo, maybe the Usos. Maybe they'll all be in. But at the end of the day, Sami Zayn, even though I know a lot of people want to see him win, I do not see him winning the matchup at all. I think if he faces Roman Reigns, it'll be an Elimination Chamber, but if not, there will be no matchup. So Sami Zayn, I'm rolling him out. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, the Great One, The Rock, or the far, I will say far, but also legitimate dark horse in Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, let's talk about that first. Earlier this week, which I thought was, I think it was on Monday, rumors dropped that WWE had made a big, threw a bunch of money at Austin, made a big pitch, whatever the word is, whatever the case is, to Stone Cold Steve Austin to have a match with Roman Reigns. They didn't. I don't think people said at WrestleMania. They just said a match with Roman Reigns. But obviously, if they were going to do that, it'd be a WrestleMania. Then people backtracked and said it was for a match with Brock Lesnar. Regardless, I thought it was hilarious because what was it, 2-3 weeks ago here on the channel, I just randomly had the idea of, hey, what if they did Austin versus Roman at WrestleMania? And I made the whole video about it. And then news actually drops that that was a rumor at one point. Even if it changed, even if they backtracked, whatever the case was, I was like, I'm right here, guys. Trust the Noah Nation. We got good ideas. Regardless, is Stone Cold going to be at the Royal Rumble? I very much think he will be. I very much think we will get Stone Cold Steve Austin in the 30-man Royal Rumble matchup because I do believe he will be at WrestleMania in some kind of wrestling capacity, whether that's against Brock Lesnar, whether that's against Roman Reigns, whether they just throw, how they gave him Kevin Owens last year. Maybe they'll throw him Austin Theory. Maybe they'll throw him LA Knight. Maybe they'll throw him somebody else. I don't know, but remains to be seen. But Austin, and The Rock, well, let's talk about The Rock real quickly as well. If The Rock's in this matchup, he's not going to be in the match to lose. But Austin, on the other hand, he can be in this matchup just for the sake of being in the matchup and also lose. He'd be down to the final few, of course, but Austin being in there is not a guaranteed win, in my opinion. If The Rock's in there, it's a guaranteed win from the second his music hits. Stone Cold, on the other hand, not the case. Stone Cold, I think, is going to be at WrestleMania anyway. Rumble's in San Antonio. If that's the case and he is going to be at WrestleMania, why wouldn't they have a potential moment in the Rumble with the glass shattering, him coming down the ring, potentially squaring off with The Rock in the Royal Rumble matchup? That's a huge moment in itself. So I do believe Stone Cold will be in the Royal Rumble matchup. Will he win? Remains to be seen. I think it's a dark horse, but if The Rock's not there and they don't want to pull the trigger on Cody just yet because they want to just go long term and they think they can stretch Cody versus Roman for another time, then maybe Austin wins. And again, I know that's a dark horse. That's why I'm saying it's a dark horse. I'm stressing that fact, but remains to be seen. One way or another, win or lose, I very much think we will hear the glass shatter at the Royal Rumble this Saturday night, especially because we didn't get Austin on Raw. Why else would they not bring in Stone Cold Steve Austin for the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, when he has been at every other anniversary show for Monday Night Raw, has had so many moments over the years, one of the Raw icons. Why would they not bring him in for the 30th anniversary? Because he's going to be in the Royal Rumble match, that's why. So Stone Cold Steve Austin, win, lose, or draw, definitely a dark horse in my opinion, and I do believe he will be in San Antonio on Saturday night. And considering that is a surprise, and before we get into the old Cody and Rock discussion, any other surprises for this matchup? I would love to see Booker T. I would love to see Rob Van Dam. I would love to see RVD. I think that'd be sick. Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder. A lot of rumors that he's making his way to the Royal Rumble matchup. If it's just a one-off, fine. If it's just if he's coming back full time, that'd be great as well. He has had some of the best. He has done some of the best work of his career over the last few years on the independent. So I'd love to see Matt Cardona in the Rumble and back in WWE in some kind of capacity. I'd love to see Brian Myers as well, not in the Rumble because I don't think that would happen, but I'd love to see him back in WWE and have the Major Brothers, aka the Major Players, the Major Wrestling Figure podcast back on Raw and SmackDown. I think would be great. Could get Matt Cardona. Any other surprises? Who knows? Maybe we'll. I'm sure Brock will end up being in the Rumble. It's not necessarily a surprise. He was on Raw this past week. They didn't announce him officially for the Rumble match, but I do believe he will be in the Rumble. I know a lot of people, even the BT Sports WWE Twitter account, which I don't like when affiliated WWE accounts rumor stuff like this on Twitter, because it's like, do you know something we don't, or are you just one of us and you're just like a mark? But I don't know. They even said it, and a lot of other people have been rumoring it, questioning whether Jay White, formerly, I think he's still in New Japan, but I think his contract's coming up and he will be coming to the States to sign with somebody. So we might be getting Switchblade Jay White in the Royal Rumble matchup if he decides to come to WWE. If they even made a pitch remains to be seen, but that's a possibility. If they're doing potentially a couple Impact Wrestling entrants in the women's Royal Rumble matchup, if I can get that out, maybe we'll get them in the men's. I don't know. The men's Rumble match is going to be pretty crowded as is. We already have half the field announced. Plus, possibly Rock, possibly Austin, add Lesnar in there. Possibly might get Edge's return in there. I assume all of Judgment Day will be in there, so that's 3 spots. So I don't know, man. Remains to be seen when it comes It's all these special entrants and stuff. But yeah, let's get into the nitty gritty. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, or the Great One, The Rock. Let me get this real straight for everybody out there. I have no problem with either guy winning, and I'm one of probably few people who feel that way. Everybody's all for Cody Rhodes, and I'm all for Cody Rhodes as well. But if The Rock shows up, I ain't gonna sit here and act disappointed because Cody didn't win. I'm gonna be freaking pumped that The Rock is back for one more run. So everybody on Twitter can cry about it if The Rock comes out on Saturday night, but I'll be right here on Saturday night, Sunday night, whatever I can make the review, and I'm going to be telling you guys how excited I am that the Great One is going to be at WrestleMania in a wrestling capacity. My only hope, if The Rock shows up on Saturday, is that they get a little bit more creative than him just coming out at number 30, wrestling for 2 minutes and winning the matchup. Because that's exactly what Brock Lesnar did last year, and I'd like to see The Rock, if he's going to be in the Rumble, do something a little bit more creative. Have him come out just a few entrants earlier, last like 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be nothing crazy. He can take a nap for half of that 10 minutes. I'm just saying, that's my only personal hope for this matchup. Doesn't have to come out at number 15. Come out at like 25, 26, 27. Get your little bit of action. Somebody knocks him down, and then he can pop back up for the last few minutes. That's all I'm saying. But is it going to be The Rock? Is it going to be Cody? Listen, if The Rock's available and he wants to do it, obviously WWE's going to go with The Rock because you only got one more chance, in my personal opinion, to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns. As cool as the big number of WrestleMania 40 would be, I doubt they are going to stretch The Rock versus Roman for WrestleMania 40, especially because now is the time for Roman Reigns. Like, this is what we've built up to for 2+ years. He has not been pinned for this matchup to fight The Rock. And this match was supposed to happen last year or 2 years ago before, COVID and the whole WrestleMania schedule kind of got shift around. I forget if it was last year or 2 years ago, and WrestleMania was originally supposed to be in LA, and that's when the rumor of The Rock versus Roman was supposed to go down, and The Rock was like, we're gonna do it in LA, and then everything got shifted around, and I think they wanted it for Dallas last year, but Rock was like, no, let's wait till LA. Why would The Rock not wrestle at WrestleMania in Hollywood, his last match ever? He's not getting any younger. He may be in incredible shape, but he's not getting any younger. He and ring shape versus in shape are two completely different shapes. So I don't know. I think he's 51, gonna be 52, something like that. Maybe 50 or turning 51. Whatever the case is, if The Rock wants to do it, I would not be, complaining that WWE decided to go with The Rock versus Roman Reigns. I want to see it. I know there's other people out there that want to see it. And listen, let's talk about Cody Rhodes. If Rock's like, no, I'm not doing it, and we get Cody, let's freaking go. I'm going to have the same excitement for Cody Rhodes coming back and winning this thing and facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I understand why a lot of people want to see it. I get the story as well. Night one after WrestleMania last year, coming out, staking his claim. He wants the WWE title, gets injured. Now he's got the injury comeback storyline going for him. I mean, it just makes the most sense in the world, right? With Cody Rhodes, though, there is a potential with everything that has been rumored, everything that's been going on, he still might end up winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. It just might not be by winning the Royal Rumble and fighting Roman Reigns. There has been rumors that they might strip the WWE Championship off of Roman Reigns before WrestleMania, possibly as soon as this Monday night on Raw. If that is the case, Cody Rhodes may win the championship inside the Elimination Chamber. He may win the championship at WrestleMania in the finals of a tournament, or they might determine a new champion before then, who then drops the title to Cody. There's a couple scenarios, and I get that's not the most appealing situation because people want Cody versus Roman, but I'm going to say right now that might be your best, if that's the word, case scenario to get Cody as the champion and also get Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania. They are not passing up Roman versus Rock if it is on the table for anybody. Not even if, I guarantee you, even if The Rock said yes and then Stone Cold came in and said, well, I want to fight Roman, they would still do The Rock versus Roman Reigns because let's be honest, that's the biggest matchup they can possibly do. And as for Cody Rhodes, I honestly think they have portrayed him in a way where it makes it so obvious that Cody's going to win that it then in turn makes it obvious that he's not going to win. They've been building him up, his return at the Rumble week after week after week. Is he going to win the Rumble? Is he going for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania? Normally, when they put it in your face so cut and clear like that, that basically means it's not going to happen. I do believe they got The Rock for the Rumble already. I do believe they kept it very tight-lipped, and I do believe they want you to think Cody Rhodes is going to win the Royal Rumble matchup because The Rock's actually going to win. I do believe that's why they announced Cody Rhodes ahead of time, because they weren't going to have him be a surprise, only to be one-upped by The Rock and The Rock to win. Listen, again, if Cody Rhodes wins, I'm all for it. Cody versus Roman will be awesome, and I get this might be the year to some people for Cody versus Roman to happen, but Roman can beat Rock at WrestleMania. Let's just do the first situation at first, which would just be for one championship, or the combined title, no separate WWE title match, just the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, both titles. He can defeat The Rock at WrestleMania. They can separate the titles afterwards if they want, and we could possibly get Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam this year. And before somebody says it's not a SummerSlam match, it's a WrestleMania match, not one person in the entire internet wrestling community had a problem with Cody versus Roman last year at SummerSlam. It's what everybody was calling for. It evidently wasn't on the table creative-wise, but it's whatever all of us fans wanted, right? We wanted Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam, Cody to win, and then Roman to build up to a non-title match with The Rock this year. I would have been all for that, but at the end of the day, we are not there anymore because Roman has both titles. They can do Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam if they really wanted to, and Cody could win there, and it might not be as appealing to some people because it's not WrestleMania, but it's the next best thing, especially if the rumor of SummerSlam being at Ford Field in Detroit, a former WrestleMania home, Triple H's first SummerSlam under creative, and legitimately his first SummerSlam, because even though he was on creative or leading creative by the time SummerSlam came around this past summer, that card was already booked, so it really wasn't his SummerSlam. I'm just saying that can be very much appealing because you're not going to push it all the way to WrestleMania 40 because Roman's not holding double titles that long. And again, if they don't want to do that, Roman versus Rock can happen. They can strip the WWE title off of Roman beforehand, and Cody can face whoever for the championship of WrestleMania and still win the WWE title at WrestleMania. And again, it might not be as appealing as Cody beating Roman, but it's probably your best case scenario. I don't even know what else I got to say. And again, to wrap it all up, because I think I'm coming off very pro Rock for this, which is not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make the case like I completely understand why they would go with The Rock if that is an option. And if The Rock said no and we get Cody Rhodes, let's go. It's going to be awesome. Cody winning the Rumble, his promos, his build-up versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania is going to be sick, but so is The Rock. So, like, either way, I'm going to be happy, which is pretty cool because, like, all these times over the years, whether it was Bryan and Roman in 2015, Roman and Nakamura in 2018, whether it was 2017 when it was like, is Roman going to win? Is Jericho going to win? It was, all these people, and it was very, like, hard decisions like, no, I want this guy to win. We can't have Roman winning. We can't have this guy winning. This is the first time through all these like cut and dry situations for Rumble winners where I'm like, I'm happy either way. So like, I'm already pumped for the Rumble, and I'm going to be satisfied by the end of that matchup either way. The only reason you're going to hear me complaining again is if Rock comes out and wrestles for 2 minutes, I'll be like, that's lame. And the Rumble match itself just sucks. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we could be looking at the best overall Royal Rumble show and two of the best Royal Rumble matches, hopefully ever, because Triple H is involved and this is his first Royal Rumble. And just like he did at Survivor Series, just like he did at Clash of the Castle, I think Triple H is going to be out to make a statement this Saturday at the Rumble and put on one of the best shows he possibly can. So at the end of the night, whether it's Cody Rhodes or The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin or Heath Slater, it doesn't matter because I'm going to be happy. But overall, my number one pick for the Royal Rumble will be The Rock. My number 2, of course, will be Cody Rhodes, and my dark horse number 3 pick will be Stone Cold Steve Austin. But that is it. Those are my final predictions for the 2023 Royal Rumble matchup, or Royal Rumble show, I should say, and the matches. I am very, very, very much looking forward to this Saturday night. I've been looking forward to it for well over a month, and especially this week. I'm thinking about it all day, every day. I haven't been this excited for the Royal Rumble since I attended in 2018, but before that, I mean, maybe, I don't even know. Like, I'm just so amped up for the Rumble. It's going to be a great night, hopefully. And by the end of it, like I said, I think I'm going to be happy either way. The only way I could see myself coming out disappointed of this show is if Alexa Bliss wins the Raw Women's title, Ronda Rousey wins the Women's Royal Rumble. God forbid Charlotte Flair enters that match and wins it. Don't even want to put that into existence. And, the men's Royal Rumble match is just shit, and then whoever wins. That's the only way I could see myself coming at this point of the show, but I think we should be in good hands for this show and heading into WrestleMania. But let me know your final predictions for the 2023 Royal Rumble down below in the comment section, guys. I don't know if it will be Saturday night, which will obviously be late Saturday night, or Sunday night, or even Monday morning. It really just depends on when I can sit down and make the video. But I will be making Royal Rumble thoughts and review after the show within the days coming, and then of course we'll be off to the races with the road to WrestleMania, and I will be making a ton of content regarding that, regarding what's going to happen at Elimination Chamber, and a bunch of stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.